Welcome everyone to another video with a Power Macintosh 8100. Excuse the background noise, I need to film with the window open. Spring started in Berlin and it is a little bit warm. The problem is we don't have so many SCSI hard drives here on stock. And the slightly bigger ones are all SCA, this hot plug backplane connector thing. And I also don't have an adapter for this right now. Probably have to order this also next. So I have here only really vintage hard drives, 426 and 349 megabyte, that we could use for test installing without an adapter. Obviously that will not be enough for Linux. I think this is barely enough for Mac OS. So first I need to check what's even on this. This one even says AIX414. No idea what's on there. By the way, no, it's a small form factor. I really wonder from which machine this came. So the nice thing is, of course, with Linux we can just mount about everything. So I use this Adaptive USB to Exchange SCSI to USB adapter that I maintain a Linux kernel driver for. That is still not mainline because it requires the proprietary firmware to be loaded. I really wonder when such long SCSI cables were a thing. This is probably way more than 2 meters. We obviously also don't have so many SCSI cables in stock, but from the few we have, I thought I slightly cut off here this extremely long cable. I really wonder if the signal integrity is even good enough for a 2 meter parallel bus extension. Anyway, because I probably nearly never need such a long cable, I will probably cut this, maybe the short end here. You obviously can just cut those cables, but your mileage may vary and don't see yours if it doesn't work. I know I have a slightly shorter cable for adapters, and you should probably never leave an open-ended cable like this as it's not terminated. So we are also going to cut the excess cable on this side of the connector. And of course this cable we can still keep in stock for other tinkering if we need some wires to run or something like this. Theoretically even press on more SCSI connectors anyway. So I only switched on the Power Mac because I wanted to use the power from it. Does it not spin up? In the meantime I also found a slightly newer Mac OS that would work on it. This is some System 8 I think. So that is booting from that SCSI CD-ROM there. Okay, here we really get some unit not ready thing. For whatever reason. So it sees the Seagate, but gets here unit not ready. And for this here we need another power adapter, floppy style power connector here. Okay, at least this one spins up. By the way, I also really like this monitors with integrated USB hubs. It's really convenient to have a USB hub in reach at any time. And on this one the USB adapter is not seeing anything. Why is that? This disk is interesting. So it started to spin up when I sent the start command. sdparm -- command start /dev/sd whatever you have. Obviously very loud. And then I usually use disk type, although it's a little bit outdated and bit rotting command, but I anyway like it quite a bit. And you see immediately it's some Solaris SparkDisk label. I mounted this partition SDC3 to MNT, and it obviously is a Linux system. And then I wondered, is it from me or someone else? It's by the way 2001, 2003, not even, but maybe this date was wrong, not sure if that can be right. But anyway, first thing with T2 or previously known as Rock Linux, ETC version, so this is some Rock Linux 2.0.0 release candidate file from 2004. To see what it is, the first clue I got from Warlock Messages. It's a Sun 4C SPARCstation 2, exactly what I showed you the other day, so I must have worked on this and tinkered around on this with on August 25th of whatever year. Clever enough, not written there. So this was with Linux kernel 261 and GCC 3.2.3, and you see here there, so it came up for the most part, and there was this Seagate, my Yamaha CD writer, and most likely the IBM CD, just this one. And then it crashed here something, kernel null pointer dereference. Apparently this Sun 4C was not 100% stable, and as I said, with so little memory on this SPARCstation 2, I gave up rather quickly. I have the original SanDisk in there, at least I guess, or was this the original SanDisk? Anyway, I have a much larger disk, but maybe this was the original SanDisk then. Anyway, so we have a larger, I think nearly 4 GB disk in the SPARCstation 2, and this one is annoyingly loud anyway and small. So we can, and this is 426 MB, and this small one that is right now not coming up is only 349 or so. So we can test installing the Power Macintosh on this one. Maybe I give the small one another go just to know if it is working or not. Always interesting what you find on archived hard drives, and yeah, again, you can't just mount any file system like this on Windows or Mac OS, so this is why we love Linux systems. So I used this drive setup to initialize the hard drive. I wonder if the Mac will boot from it, given that it's not spinning up. By the way, it's just stuffed it here into the drive bay, so I don't have this retaining clips. And install, let's see how this is going. So Untitled or Untitled 2. So it required 120 MB for installation. That means I could theoretically reduce it further, but maybe I just leave it. It will not be enough space to install Linux anyway. This is then only a first test. I wonder if the hard drive works stable enough, because on Linux I saw some sector errors in the system log when I switched it off. Yay, Java runtime. I, by the way, really hate this. First of all, I really hate non-proportional scrollers, and also they don't even update in real time. They are really, I must say, I find them really annoying. Apple Remote Access, yes, thank you very much. So let's see how this is going. As fast as the System 7 was running, the other video, System 8 runs slightly slower, and also the installation takes forever. And also a note, last night preparing for this I burned quite some CDs, many of which did not work. This is exactly what I wanted to avoid, to burn endless CDs without them booting. So in retrospect I was really lucky that the very first CD I burned, the System 7.5 that I found, German, for this machine, was actually working instantly. The next CDs I burned did not work. In retrospect, however, I wonder if this may be because I did not set the CD writer to a slower speed, because forward thinking I set the burn speed to something lower. I still remembered that sometimes there was a problem reading very fastly written disks on very old CD-ROMs. So maybe I burned the first one with 16x or something, and the other one that didn't work only with 31x. I think they were, these disks and the writer are 52x capable, and maybe 32x was not slow enough. So the very last one that worked, the System 8 point something, what it is right now, 8.5 or so, or whatever. And the very last one I also burned with 16x, so maybe the signal is really too faint when you burn them very fast for this very old CDs to read them. Usually, of course, I prefer CD rewritables, but I tested this very first time, and this very old drive may not read CD rewritables, and also I hooked up the Yamaha CD writer and it did not boot from this, so somehow the Power Mac also doesn't like the Yamaha CD writer for some reason. Maybe it's starting too slow or something. Just another point to keep in mind, that working with this optical media is also not the greatest fun. So let's see if we can actually boot this. Okay, it's booting something. I guess it's starting way more from hard disk now, as it was booting way faster from the CD-ROM. But it's already showing you quite some icons in this extension dock thing, whatever. What is rebuilding the desktop file? I must say I was more impressed when it booted so fast from CD-ROM. Okay, where can I set the keyboard? Here we have it again, black on gray, 8100. So that is 8.1, PowerPC 601 at 80 MHz and 40 MB of RAM. In the meantime, I read that it has 8 MB RAM on the main logic board, and then likely 2x16 socketed there in the SIM. You also need to install them pairwise for dual channel memory, and apparently those had a thermal electrical coupling device or so. They call it this Petier element that is using electricity to cool one side while warming the other. So they have this element there on the CPU between the heatsink. Very interesting. I think I've never seen that on another machine. And current date, was it 56 or what is it? Actually here with the running system, at least this 8.1, I'm now less impressed with the speed of this. The 7 point something on the CD was actually, in my opinion, much nicer to use. But this is now surprisingly not fast, for whatever reason. Hey, you could switch it already. Cool. Okay. So now we could go ahead and enjoy the Mac system. We also want to go ahead and try booting this Linux. Also apparently, because this hard drive is not auto-starting for some reason, maybe there's a jumper for that, on a fresh power cycle the machine would not boot from this disk, because obviously, like Linux, the firmware here is not sending the start command. So, but anyway, this hard drive is too small, so this was only first test. I already ordered an SCA adapter a minute ago. In the future I will use one of the bigger, newer 4 GB SCA drives with an adapter and put it in here also. As this plastic tray things here are extremely hard to find, I couldn't find any on eBay right now. And if I find them, they're probably as expensive as SGI drive base for 50 or 100 euro, a stupid plastic piece. We could of course 3D print one of those, or I just screw it in there or lay it in there. Time will show, but as you can see, it won't boot on a fresh drive the last time. For the installation, actually the drive spun up with booting from CD and then starting the disk utility, and then it actually spun up. So yeah, but this drive anyway, it is too loud, and now after running 45 minutes or what it was, or an hour, it is totally hot anyway. So yeah, we need something better than this extremely vintage drive. And this is also another note and tip: if you buy such vintage things on eBay, these old drives are often not that good anymore, and obviously the bearings are dry and so on, and everything is used and starting to fail already. So I would definitely not spend too much money on used SCSI discs on eBay, and rather get newer drives with some adapter that often is certainly not only faster but also more reliable and often cheaper. But that's it now for today, and I hope you learned something.